Racing returns to the CD on Thursday. Really can't wait for Whanganui and to get through the form. We're joining our CD expert in Bevan Sweeney. Bevan, 11 races from Whanganui, like we saw at PICK-OTTAVIO on Saturday. Early start with a 10:45 kickoff with that first race. We start with the maiden over the 800 metres, and we see here favouritism around Transitory, but also support around Springtide and also Spider-Puss, and all of those horses bringing jump outs form.
Absolutely. It's a tough day tomorrow, Aidan, with all the high weights and a lot of those jumpers just returning to the races. But I think we can find a couple across the program. Certainly the Benner and Wynyard team with their two runners, they look very good chances. In the first on the program, I'm with Transitory. I saw its jump out at Levin a couple of weeks ago, and it was a very good effort to running second on that occasion. Its form was rock solid through October and November and amongst a couple of nice form fields. So it's on top for me in the first on the program. Outside of that, look, Gentleman Jack has been around in some nice races throughout its preparation. It trialled up okay at Foxton, but I think that race day experience will be some sort of key there on Thursday. The 8 Spider-Puss, look, it jumped out beautifully at Hastings, but look, they've had a drought up there in the bay, so it's going to strike a track it wouldn't have struck for a long period of time. That being said, the horse does have ability and it has first use of the track, so that's a big plus for the 8 in the book. And then, look, I've gone with Boston Strong Boy, who's at home. Now, this horse has a lot of ability, but has been very erratic across its 4 starts to date. But if it puts its best foot forward, it's well capable. Others in the race, clearly Springtide, who's down from the Clayton Chipperfield barn now with Chrissy Banbury. It's looked okay as well. And I'll be watching No Rock, No Pop, another one that won a jump out at Hastings in really good time. Not a lot known about the filly, but I think there's a bit of ability there. But I do think Transitory is a good bid in the first on the program.
Okay, on to the second, the Jolt House Coffee, 800 metres. It's basically become a rating 70, and we see Ottavio open up his favourite and has had the benefit, Bevan, of that run at PICK-OTTAVIO on Saturday when it finished 6th.
Yeah, he's hit and misses in the Ottavio a bit, Aidan. Like he can put up some really nice performances, then he can be a bit disappointing. But 800 metres, as you mentioned, in a rating 70 probably suits him. He came out of a race that was rated as 81, fresh up this time, and he'll be better for that. He does run on speed, big, strong horse, so I think will be very, very competitive here. Capanos, I was impressed with the trial at Oteki, and it's a horse that does run along nicely, not overly big, but I think it should be well capable in this, and I think it's really good value at $9 in the market. I then went with La Land Don, who can be, again, a very erratic horse, but it seemed to get things together through the last 3 starts of last preparation, La Land Don. And then I put in Bell Toy, who, look, I can't trust this horse, but when you get a bit of sting out of the track and it can get somewhere forward, it can run some sort of race. So I'll go with Ottavio, not with a lot of confidence. Leaving out Armaguard might be a danger with weight off its back because it was going really nicely at the end of last preparation.
Okay, the third of the card, the first of the high weights, 4 high weights on the card, so good to see those jump riders back in action as well. And in a really even market, it's a tough one here, Bevan. We're going to have to get you to sort it out for us.
Well, I just think Speed Call's a really nice bet in this particular race. It just seems in the right spot, in the right race. Speed Call. Of course, Chrissy has the Water Walker, so she's had the ability through COVID, etc., to keep them just ticking along. This also had a couple of good trials. Second behind Happy Star, who I think is a dead set winner when it lines up, but for the Benner and Wynyard team, it was a good trial performance in this type of race. I find it hard to see Speed Call beaten, but it is a high weight, so we're going to go with Speed Call on top. Very Delightful's been a horse who I thought should have won a race by now. It does have some ability, this horse, in this type of race. It seems nicely suited as well. Mishka for the Brown team, and Emily Farr is fresh up, but again, it's had a couple of trials in its legs. That should place it nicely for this. And look, I'm not going to leave Wagner out. He's a horse at times it has been okay on the flat and looked okay at the jumping game. So I put Wagner in, but look, Speed Call looks an obvious bet for me in race number 3. And what did they put up? 3.9. I think that's okay shopping.
Okay, yeah, the next to the races, the fourth is the Guthrie Baron, another high weight, this one over the 1,600 metres, so they'll have to be hard fit. Password comes up pretty well supported in the market too, and has been consistent so far. And the other one bookies liking here is Botti, who's been around a couple of stables with Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman for joining Chris Waller, then went to Bruce Wallace and Grant Cooksley, and these days with Kevin Myers, so there may be a jumping career coming up too.
Well, I suppose one thing you will know is that Harvey Wilson's horses are fit because they work around the farm. So there'll be enough work in Password's legs to say that this horse is a major chance in this particular race. He's by Z, track no worries, gate's good enough. I think he's the obvious in the race, but we'd have looked past that. Look, Kirkland's had a reasonable sort of rap on him over a long period of time, but he has been disappointing. Maybe, just maybe, this is his preparation. So I'm going to be throwing him in as well. Lothbrook, last time we saw this horse at Whanganui was very, very good. The next couple of runs, clearly not as good as we would have hoped for, but Lothbrook has always said a fair bit of ability now with Samantha Matthews at Cambridge. And Body goes in, just because we know how good Body is, but which Body's going to turn up is the question mark. With Kevin Myers, he's got a couple of magical things in his stable that might just turn his form around. So he's in. Centre attention at his best would be very, very competitive here as well.
Yeah, and no doubt the Kevin Myers team would have been keeping on working right through the COVID period, the lockdown period as well. On to race 5, a maiden over 2,000 metres, and once again, we're back to the flat jockeys here. I spoke to Stephen Hunt, who said this was a difficult one to price up, but he's gone with Bear Grylls fresh up and showed a little bit last preparation, Bevan.
Yeah, it showed a little bit in the Quinella for mine. I'll go with Ulaki for the Browns, who just... Look, he doesn't show much of a turn of foot, but he kept on grinding through the back end of last preparation. He's set for a jumping a career. He's won a jumping trial in preparation for today, so I thought he might be fit enough to be the one. Bear Grylls' form is good enough for Barry Coxhead out of Hara to be in the mix. Dundee Street put up a nice effort at the end of last preparation for Simon Wilson, another by Zed, who again is more than likely destined for a jumping preparation. And keep it up, maybe the next best for Kevin Myers and Ryan Elliott, the 5-year-old, by keeper with just the 5 starts. But, gee, it's tough race 5. I've gone 2, 1, 5 and 6 with not a lot of certainty, Aidan.
Yep, not too much easier race 6 either. Another race that's dominated by those top 5 in the book. And the top 5 in the book here, Bevan, features 4 of the Kevin Myers team. How do we work it out?
Oh, gee, where to look? Where to look? I went with Duffers Creek. He's a good old campaigner who's won a trial nicely going into this afternoon. I thought the 5 in the book, Mondarani, a reasonable sort of investment on the program. Humble Pie has won a jump out in preparation for this afternoon, a jumping trial. So he's been over a bit of ground, or he has. And then I put in the 2 here, Zentangle for Kevin Myers. But again, very, very tough race number 6 on the program.
Highway jockeys again in action in race 7. This one, the AGC training over 2,060 metres. They're going to have to be hard fit for this. Mazina, Ryan Elliott doing the riding for Kevin Myers is right in the market here. A winner of 1 from 14, placed in a further 5. Did show ability last preparation.
Again, tough over the stone trip. Yeah, I'm with Mazina, fresh up this afternoon off the back of a trial for Ryan Elliott. That's got to be some sort of key throughout the program. Game Percy, fresh up, showed us enough last preparation. Is actually a lot better on the flat than the record suggests. Desert Storm for the Browns, fresh up by Zabeel. Has had a trial, and it was an okay trial for this debut or fresh up performance. And Revolution, you couldn't count Revolution out, but 13.5, and then I'm not really sure.
Okay, yeah, back to the shorter distances for race 8, the Whanganui Chronicle, maiden over the 1,200 metres. Huda comes up favourite on the back of a good trial win at Foxton, a horse who's had a couple of preparations. Spoke to Matt Dixon, had a bit of a suspensory problem, so put the horse out, but really pleased with the way that he's coming up. And he's in the market here, along with Tamahini, Show Sansel and Sashanat, who actually beat home Huda about a year ago at the trials.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Huda impressed me at the trials. He's a nice horse. He's been around the jump outs a fair bit as well and looked good. So I'm going to go with him over Sashanat, albeit you will not see a better trial than that now with Austin Brown of OPIC. You sat back, looped them, went the line hard held. So those 2 on the 1 and 2 positions. Tamahini showed us a fair bit last preparation for sure. The filly by Preser, it was a good effort on the 20th of Jan. And Empire Patch is an interesting runner for Chrissy Bambury. Comes out of Hong Kong from the Sullivan and Scott team. Expected to be running home. I'm not sure it can win tomorrow, but it certainly will be winning at some point.
Leads us on to race 9, Bevan. The Dave Hoskins Carriers over the 1,200. It's effectively a rating 86 race with Miss Lizzie in there. Market says that Secret Squirrel is going to be awfully hard to beat, and the mail is this horse is pretty forward for this outing.
It's an interesting race. I actually think it's possibly the best race on the program outside of the first. It has a lot of interest with some young horses coming in. Look, I saw Mertens at the jump outs at Levin on the 10th. It was probably the best jump out on the day. for mine. It's a horse who showed us a lot early. There was a real flat patch in the middle of its form. It came rock solid at the end of last preparation through February and March. Put up one hell of a performance at Hastings a couple of runs ago. So against the gate, which is a nightmare, I think this horse is going well enough to win. Rock On Eve was really good at the trials, albeit back in March, beating home Cinerama, which we know has a lot of ability. So she's always a competitor in a race like this. Secret Squirrel, we know the honesty of this horse. He'll put up a run, he gets lobbed a couple of times, or has traditionally been beaten just on a couple of occasions, but we know he's really, really consistent. And Tavi's Court is a horse who has a lot of ability. I'm not quite sure what exactly went on through those 2 runs at Otaki and Trentham. They were very disappointing for a horse who put up one heck of a preparation prior. Lovely horse by Tavistock. He would have been to the jump outs on Monday, I would have believed. Not quite sure about that. I'll try and contact Anna Clement tonight around that. But this horse is on its game. It's right in the mix in a good race. I've left out Chosen Peak. That worries me. I thought the trial was good, and this horse has ability as well. Miss Lizzie, we know what she did last winter. I don't think the track conditions are going to be quite at her level tomorrow. I think with the weather that's about, this track is going to keep on improving. And with 60, I'll leave her out and give her 1 run to come back into form. But look, I'm going with Mertens over Rock On Eve, Secret Squirrel, Tavi Court. And I think any one of those 4 can win this race, Aidan. They're certainly well capable and will win through this preparation, along with Chosen Peak as well, who thinks a nice horse.
Yeah, nice race, isn't it? On to race 10. This one's a whole lot harder. Over the 1,350 metres, Elberon's in the market along with Mona Law and also PICK-CANUCIA as well. But I found this a nightmare, Bevan. Can you sort it out?
Yeah, not really, but I will go with Can You See It for Royden Burgess and Rosie Mize, just on the back of the trial at Otaki on the 17th, because it was a day where, look, you had to be fit to get close. It was raining throughout the program there, and I have liked this horse through its career. I thought its debut effort was nice enough at Otaki at a big price. Then it made up some nice ground when they put some money on it to Hiranekio, and Dance for Us out of the Gary Vile stable will make a nice horse with time. So I'm looking forward to seeing him out this preparation as well. On top over Elberon, look, he doesn't win out of turn this so well. He hasn't won yet, and he should have won on a couple of occasions. He's got 5 placings. I'd like to see him get across the line with Ryan Elliott aboard for Kevin Myers. Morna Loa was really unlucky at New Plymouth and behind Nudgebar, and Nudgebar went on to be very competitive through the Wellington Cup Carnival. So Morna Loa, this is Morna Kia's family, so I'm hoping the horse has got the siblings' ability and just look to be coming to it at the second start in its career. And maybe Brawler for Clinton Isdale in a very, very tough race. I thought about Princess Jenny, I thought about Hermes, but yeah, they were all sort of on that same sort of rating band for me, Aidan, so I couldn't separate them. Not sure here. I went with Can You See Her over Elberon. Morna Loa maybe in the mix, but that might be the blowout leg in the quaddie.
Okay, we get through to race 11 at 21 minutes past 4. Good to see the return of William Wallace as well, and Tabard, who's showing plenty. Le Bouton, though, is a horse who's been to the jump outs, comes up favourite along with Crowning Star. Not a lot between this pair. Have you seen Crowning Star?
Yes, and very, very good. Went to the line hard held at Otaki and never really let go by Lisa. So I think this horse is prepped to win here this afternoon. I did speak to John Barry about Louboutin, and he just feels that this horse might be 1 run short, and maybe there's a couple of races coming up that you can probably look at Louboutin as much more of a winning chance. Not saying it can't win tomorrow, but his thoughts are it might just need a run. So look, Crowning Star is the absolute obvious one in this race. It's my best bet on the program, but I say that, and I also like a horse in here called Way Above the 14 for Kevin Myers. Now, this horse was down south at the end of last preparation, but I saw it at the trials, or the jump out, sorry, on the 10th, and it was very, very good. We'll bring you that trial or jump out tomorrow. Not a very big horse, but it went to the line hard held, and might just be the smoky in the race. My best bet might be the 714 Quinella here, Aidan, and race number 11. I like both of those. The 10 in the book, that is Chansu. This horse worked nicely through its preparation last time to pick up the win at New Plymouth and looks to have a fair bit of ability. And then what do you do with the 2 at the top? Because we know what William Wallace can do. He bled at the end of last preparation. He, again, I have seen at the jump outs 2 set to go at Levin, and he just tracked home and behind them. They're putting the blinkers on tomorrow. with 59 kilos, if he's anywhere near his best, like he could blow on by very, very quickly, the one. And Tabard is a very, very talented horse. His career has been held up by a bit of injury. He looked anything when we first saw him, but he's had a few niggles. He, again, was at the jump outs, and he looked to be coming up okay, and only carries the 58 on his back. So I do really like the 7 and the 14. My mind says Crowning Star is the bet of the day. I've got a little niggle about the 14, so we'll be putting those two together in the Quinella.
Okay, we saw at Pukekohe, there's a little bit of the survival of the fittest, who's the most forward, along with that combination of a little bit of class as well. 11 races, not easy. Where have you gone with your best, Bevan?
Well, I wanted to say Crowning Star in the last, but I think I'll actually just stick with Transitory in the first, just with the fact that the track is going to be at its absolute best. It's a horse that jumped out very, very nicely. It's formed through last preparation behind Queen Kamada, who's a nice horse, Master Pony. That's good enough for mine to be taking this race out with what I've seen at the jump outs and talking to Jono earlier today. He preferred Crowning Star. I'm going to prefer Transitory just because it's in the first in the program. I think it'll jump, it'll run on speed. It's 800 metres. It puts itself there. Lisa all press the board. There's just so many factors that say that Transitory should win the first on the program. If you're looking for a bit of value, I do like that Quinella on the last, the 7 and the 14, Crowning Star and Way Above. I think those two will combine to go very, very close, 1 and 2 in that particular race. Not sure what Mertens is at. I might just throw him out as a little bit of value as well in a tough race. Miss Lizzie Tevi's caught Secret Squirrel, Rock on Eve, chosen people with ability. But I think you'll be at a good each way quote for Susie Gordon, and the jump out again at Levin was very, very strong. So as you've mentioned, Aidan, it's a very tough day tomorrow, through the middle part of the program especially. That track will keep on improving. Just seen some jump out, some trial footage out of Waverley where the track looks really good, and that's very close to Whanganui. So hopefully it comes back into sort of the top end of slow, and then the race day should be quite enjoyable. And I think you're going to join me for the whole program, Aidan, because we've got a lot of gaps to fill and we've got a lot to talk about.
Exactly. Luckily, you've done all that jump out form. We'll be able to bring you a few of those videos as well. So tune in. The first from Whanganui is at 10:45 tomorrow. So be tuned in to Trackside 1 to catch all the action with Bevan, Sweeney and myself.